Thank you to Readmoo for sending us this sample. This is the Mooink Plus 2C, and it is a 7.8-inch Kaleido 3 e-reader with physical page turn buttons, a color screen, of course, and it's actually made in Taiwan, not China. But because it's an ebook reader, there's no pen in the box, and we know very little about what this has to offer, so let's dive in. So I'm presuming this is going to be a little bit of a shorter review. Reason being, we played around with this at the boardroom meeting table thing where we all collect and check things out. You can't do anything on this, so it has physical page turn buttons, that's really cool, has a nice power button, and it's got a good overall design with a USB-C at the bottom. The back shows a ton of fingerprints, regardless of the fact that we alcohol our fingertips and hands before each shoot. It's crazy because there's just no texture. There's some design, but there's no actual texture to it, so that's a little bit of a downside. Now let's look at the UI. It is locked down. You can sign in with your email and password, that's totally fine, but that's where it ends. Everything else is going to be Taiwanese only. For example, when you go to the store, when you go over here and you get your widgets, when you go to your bookshelf, it's just going to be your side-loaded content. When you go to file, it's just saying what kind of genres and everything you like, whether you want to sign up with DigiTimes. And then you go to this, which is just some random odds and ends, quotes and favorites and stars, and then you go over to your profile, and you can see that is my email address. Feel free to drop me a line if you have anything to say. And other than that, there's just friends and some rough settings. Settings does go a step further and gives you some options here for displays and everything like that, but unfortunately no, there are no language options on this unit, rendering it completely useless to us basically, because to even figure this out, we had to consult one of our guys, Kevin, to either translate everything for us, or if we wanted to give him a break, we used Google Lens to just kind of use AR in order to translate things. One thing we did find that is pretty much the standout feature of this entire device before we get into reading is this one, color mode. This one gives you some presets of how color's going to look, and you can change the pictures if you want to see an example. So you would click here for that and this for that, and what it does is automatically in the back end slide a bunch of parameters and allows you to see the color in different ways. That's quite nice, but you know what the thing is that is just preset sliders of vividness, sharpness, and maybe some contrast, because remember, this is the exact same Kaleido 3 screen that everyone else is using, the Tab Mini C, the S6 Color Plus, etc. This is the exact same Kaleido 3 screen that everyone is using, the Tab Mini C, the S6 Color Plus by Bigme. It's not any different. The EPD, the electronic paper display, is the same thing. So really we are just relying on the operating system, the UI, and other things like that in the software to be different, to allow us to do different things. And that's just not a whole lot outside of that, which leads us into ebook reading, because side-loaded content downloaded from free public sources like Project Gutenberg is the only thing we can showcase. Everything else is going to be written in Chinese, or it just won't be properly formatted or even work very well. Which is an absolute shame, because this is a great unit to hold. I like the dimensions and I like the consistent borders. It's not too chunky in any of the sides. I like the bezels. I like the curved nature of it. Feels great to hold in the hand, and these are extremely rewarding page turn buttons. I would love to see these on other units. I like how they're on both sides, they push in very good, and it just feels like a sense of accomplishment when you press them down. It's almost like it's hard to press it down at the same point, but it's tooled in such a way and hinged where it doesn't feel like you're breaking anything or pushing it beyond what it's capable of. You can long press on things, and that it does allow you to change some things over here, which is just notes and odds and ends, or you can do different colored highlights because it is running color. But unfortunately, we can't even really show color on this. We'll go back to those images in a bit. Just wanted to touch on this because this doesn't have any sort of applications for galleries or photo browsers, or just a generic file explorer that allows us to see photos that are completely just locked out. There's really nothing except some cover art we can take a look at. You can try pinch and zooms on things and it's not going to do anything. You can tap the center and change the font styles and sizes, but again, that's going to be bogged down with simplified Chinese. Simplified Chinese refers to the mainland Chinese Mandarin, not the Macau, Hong Kong dialects of Cantonese writing, which is more traditional. These are simplified Chinese, so if you read it, that's great. I can see and pick out some of these. This says left and right, etc., but it just doesn't take well to other languages like Japanese, for example. This is very, very locked down. If you wanted something that just is an ebook reader, maybe you got this for free, for sure, you sideload in your content. It's got 120 gigs of storage space on here. You just slide it on in and you can read most any major ebook format. So you got your Mobi, you got your EPUB. That's really where it ends and lives with all of this. And you can go to different categories like this. You can choose all your different drop down, so whether it's books or whether it's the novels that you got from the store, it actually says you don't have any books, go to the store, and then you go to the store and then it's all just in Chinese or Taiwanese dialect, whatever you want to call it. Now the last thing, yes, is basically that color mode, because this is really the only way to showcase the colors. Are the colors good? Yeah, they're fine, but they're industry standardized, because the actual hardware itself, the display panel, is going to be identical regardless of what unit you have. So that's why it's better to go with a company like Bigme or Onyx, or someone that has Google Play already installed, something that gives you a little bit more flexibility of what you can do with it, and it just allows you a better overall experience. And I guess, you know what, now that we're kind of blathering on and chatting, we can show you one more thing, and that would be, well, the glow light with the lights off, because the glow light is device specific, and you can see the lights on at the bottom. You have a variety of lights that are both cold and warm. Right here where my finger's pointing, those little nodules are the LEDs. So let's turn the lights off and see what we can see. So when we're on the full mode, it is pretty intense. It's very white, and you only have one set of LEDs at the bottom, not the top or the side. So that is how it primarily goes. You can change the color temperature, in which case the other set of LEDs will either turn off or on, or even mix based on the way you choose it. You have your contrast dial here as well if you want to change the contrast, and you have some presets for it as well. But overall, this is just nothing really more outside of this we can showcase. And you know what? This is one of the few Mooinks where we have this level of just lack of customization and flexibility of things we can actually show you guys. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to leave it at that. A color Kaleido 3 screen, a beautiful out-of-the-box design, and physical page turn buttons make this a decent ebook reader for anyone who just wants to read. However, all of that crumbles because there's no language options, there's no international ecosystem, and all of the content is going to be in Chinese only. There's also no note-taking capabilities, rendering it a one-trick pony to just read and nothing else. On paper, the unit does sound decent, but that's where it ends. There's just so little you can do outside of Taiwan that it's not even funny. It just does not make it a viable option for anyone to entertain. For GoodyReader.com, this is Peter.